Welcome to the Language of Markets live session. It's Monday, the 24th of June. Welcome back. We made it. Markets is interesting. Interestinger. All right. I want to work, before we go back to pressure cookers, I want to work on some foundations. But before that, let's make a round in the markets and do a little practice. We're going to do a little practice with our swings. And let me show, since it's happening right now, let's introduce a relative type structure right away. All right, then we'll get to the boring old swing practice. Let's introduce a relative swing structure. Let's start with something new. There we go. And then I think we're going to do some creating in one of these markets. All right, so you guys see this oil, right? Take a look at it. Soften your eyes. All right, soften your eyes. And just see the angle of it. Now, remember, when we're trading, each day is a new day. It's fresh. It's a new configuration, right? It's not just, let me plug this pattern in right now. It's a new day. It's a new puzzle. It's an unknown. Hey, Jay, each day is a new day, okay? And it needs to be approached that way. Every day we're here to trade up. That's what we're doing. And each trade we do is going to require a creative, unique solution to this particular day. This is why I always mention for us to erase your lines. Start over. Just look at the chart. See what you can see. This is a very hard way to go, but when you do it, you know it. Because it's very present. It's very looking at what's going on. And then your training can kick in. All right? Then your training can kick in. Each trade is fresh and creative. Okay? So we were over here. We talked of oil. All right? Pressure cooker. Boom, boom. We were here live. We were picking on Nate. We were saying everything was up. Every single thing was up. Price was right here. We were watching it live. You saw where we ended up into Sunday. All right? But that's Friday. We want to, this is a very hard thing to do. We want to see this day fresh. See the chart fresh. Now I'm going to introduce a little structure here. I have more on that. Maybe when we look at something, I'll talk about that. It's the difference between coming and saying, all right, let me plug in a pattern. Okay, we're going to come in here. We're going to work our swings, all right? This is going to help us with stuff. But if we do it mechanically, it's like eating mechanically. You don't even taste your food. And you're not even there for it. You're not even awake to it. But let's just go into the structure here before I babble on about this. See this chart do this. It's basically kind of went straight up, all right? Kind of went straight up. And then went into this grind here, like this. I probably didn't draw this well, but you should get the idea. Nate says second stage rocket. Well, follow me, Nate. Maybe we're going to make this into, this is something I use, right? Because we're always talking about what is, right? We have to work with the facts. What is, right? The swings are up. The swings are up. But there's also the setup before the setup. And we spoke of that on Friday, the setup before the setup, the context of the situation, the feel of the market. Less thinking, more feeling. All right? So we spoke about that on Friday. Now, this is basically like this. And we talk about, all right, we want the facts, Jack. What are the swings doing? They're up. Boom, 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 boom. When they turn down, okay, when they turn down, now the swings are down. But that's just the beginning. Remember, we always have three types of trades. And, you know, for those of you who've been following the one-line work, we always have three types of trades. And that is the push, and of course the try, if we want to include the try in this. The type 2, and the type 3. And sometimes this will break this last little swing, and sometimes not. Right here. Okay. Now, although the swing is broken, it's now pointing down. That's the facts, Jack. And it's very important we know the facts. But there's also the story setting up the story. It's very important we know the facts. I mean, we have to start. Our actions have to be based on reality rather than our conditioning. No setup will save us from our conditioning, our self-centered thoughts, okay? We need functional thoughts. There's a difference. Self-centered means I need, I want, I expect, to-do, I need to get this, I need to feel good, blah, blah, blah. So we have to start with the facts. But just because a swing is broken doesn't mean it's over. There's three types. Now, this sets up a particular situation. What do you guys think this looks like on a daily chart? So I'm going to introduce sort of a relative structure here, since the markets are doing it. And I'm not saying to, you know, use multiple time frames. I'm saying we want to learn the language. A gap and then a bar level press. Yes, a gap and then a bar level press. Thank you, Grace. So it's something like this, right? You know, boom, and then price is pressing, 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 pressing. Very good. So you got a good eye, Grace. That's what this is going to kind of look like, okay? So this is setting up a serious run. This is setting up a serious run. Now, when we get this bar level press, sometimes it expands up, and then, you know, we can then consider it. But what else does it do? What else have you seen price do that's maybe in this kind of shape? I mean, think about, all right, don't even think about it. Feel it. What's going on? They're pushing. It's going up. They're driving it up. They're driving it up. They're driving it up. Rita says turn, right? Sometimes it breaks the branch and heads all the way down. But how often do you see this? Right? Sometimes it breaks and engulfs the whole thing, right? Or sometimes it comes back to the mountain here, right? Right, Nate? You know that one. Sometimes it comes back to the mountain. So it's just sucking this up, because nothing can stay hot forever. Nothing can go boom, 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 into an extreme. Nothing. The economy can't do it. It needs to cool down at some point. Everything does. But, you know, they're buying it. And one of the things I love about this, when I do play it, is that everybody's waiting for the short, or trying to get short, or trying to get short. Now watch what happens quite often. This would be breaking a swing, wouldn't it? Like that? Because this is going to play into what I'm going to talk about in a few minutes in process. It doesn't even have to make a mountain, Ed. What about this? How often do you see this? What I like to call, when on a bar level, I just call this a bait. Just a bait. You know, this goes back to the second swing back work we used to do and all of that stuff. But here I'm throwing a little bit of context in here. So it's just a bait. And on this level, the swing expands, right? Look, this is what a median line's made of. Just like that. So it's very common to see a bait here as it just backs up a little bit and goes through. You know, generally these moves are going to probably roll back down on the daily. But this can go for a little while. And so a lot of times you have your shorts hitting it, you have your longs hitting it, getting nice and comfortable. You know, your longs are getting nice and comfortable in here. And then crack. Okay? And then crack. So it's something like that. That's something like that. And if we go to a daily, it might not be, but often you'll see a daily bar or a 480 bar. Just poke and run. Because there's a lot of momentum. It's like a ceiling fan you've turned on. It takes a while to turn it for it to slow down. And so yes, the swing's expanding, but it's a type 2 Phil, but it's a type 2 in a certain context. And so a lot of times these guys, especially when, you know, everybody's just hot to trot, these guys will make a few little baits. And every time it, you know, breaks down, it sucks people in. Of course, it could come back. This will be like the base here. This is where it'll probably end up eventually. And of course, it can come straight back. But you'll get quite a lot of these baits sometimes in a market where they're just, you know, there's a bid underneath it for some reason. There's a bid underneath it for some reason. And this is a relative structure because we see this on a bar level quite often. See, I can even pull it up on a bar level in here, and you can see it, like, you know, we're coming down and bait. Okay. And so this is where we can start to learn a little bit about our median line tools and where to draw. So when this comes down into this, you can see you know, maybe we have daily bar, daily bar, daily bar, bait. And now we're right at that juncture. We're right at that juncture there. And a lot of the markets are doing that right now. We're right at that juncture. You can see it. And so now we're taking this. I'm a little messy here. We're taking this swing and projecting it about where the reversal is going to happen. And the same thing here. Come back. We're taking this last swing and projecting it to about where the reversal is going to happen. Do you guys see that? Isn't that cool? Let me get rid of this one. And so we're right here. Not too shabby, huh, Nate? And so this is the bait. This right here is this. Okay? Now, it might reverse. It might reverse. Now, if by understanding this structure, okay, when you see a market go like this, I usually, I consider two options. One, to eventually play back to here, to where it, the branch went. But if I see something like this V in here and washing, and so now I've kind of got a head start just by understanding a little bit of the language of price. And so now I know, hey, if I get a nice turn in here, maybe I can get a long, or maybe this will actually be a reverse. So if this was actually a reverse, it would come up to here and then go like this. Now, we're not doing relative work just yet, but since the markets are kind of in this mood, I thought I would point it out. And you can just see the line. See the crack here? See boom, 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 crack? You can just see the line that we're on. Just make it like a little zone in here. And so this is the kind of thing median lines, are made of. Like that. Except it's on a particular type of structure. We're going to have to maybe name this or something. I don't know. But it's bar level press, like Grace said. Raj says, can it double out the press and move higher? Yes, that was one option, right? Right, Raj? It can expand. See, that's the thing. We want to know all of our things. It can go from here, 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 and can expand. Oof. Or it can bait. It's a process, and so we kind of watch it. If it baits, we can have some sort of idea. Because this is a very, very typical thing you'll see in pressing markets, because they're pressing. They're pressing. Even before, this thing still might expand at some point on a higher time frame, but even before it expands, sometimes it'll bait a little bit first. And that's just a quick pop of the daily lows, and boom. And it suckers a lot of people. One of the big ones it suckers is all the 3 drives to a reversal people. I call this 3 drives, to an expansion. So let's look at this on a daily. Can't really see it on a daily. How about a 480? We got to, that's a big bait. We got to find one that looks pretty. We got to find one that looks pretty. Not pretty, but you see the bait, and it's trying right here. Right? You see the bait, and it's trying right here. So now we're in the notes. See, I kind of marked this out. Maybe a higher tick count, yeah. But let's skip that for a moment. And just come in here and do some simple swing work on the notes. Do the swing work that I did. So now let's just take our time. Do some. What are the highs? What are the lows? What's the biggest swing? That's the biggest swing. What's its projection? That's its projection. You want to draw a median line from the low, you can draw a median line from the low. You see the modified shifts doing a very nice job. And then as you come in here, you can watch it. And you can follow. You just want to follow price. That's it. You just want to follow price. Just follow price. Buyers and sellers, buyers and sellers. You get something interesting like an outside bar, mark it. So, we just want to follow price. Now, wouldn't this be, Grace, wouldn't this be sort of a press? Something like that? See, now we're going into a press. Okay, so we can do the same thing and realize the top of this press structure is some kind of high. There's your 3 drives down. So you watch it and you just let it speak to you. Outside bars beat. This is the top of the press. This is the top of the press here. So we can draw this in many ways. And one of the reasons I'm going to the trouble of this, because I'm trying to get everybody to understand a little bit more about, it's all in swings. That's a swing high right there. That's a swing high. It's a little more subtle, but that's a swing high. And so we can come in here. We have sellers. We have sellers. We have buyers. Now remember, we're looking at the blue wave. And now we're looking at this to see if there's some sort of a turn. Boom. And then we can follow it. I guess this was already a little turn, wasn't it? Current. So it's very simple practice swing work. See, although the market is looking a bit crazy, that's all it is. And a press had that bottom, right, Phil? You saw it. That's all it is. And now this swing is trying. This swing is trying in here. And then, we can get into a little more detail and, take apart the pivots and look. But this is how we take a mess and begin to make a decision. If we wish to sell it, well, maybe we'll sell it up here. If we wish to buy it, we want to buy it down here for the whole swing. And, the median line's pointing you towards about where price is going to go. We'll just use the high on this one, and we'll follow this one. So this guy's trying. And we can see it. It's on a line. So maybe it's too late to do a trade right here, right now. But now we can follow this line that the notes are on and watch it. It's all really just in simple swings. That's all I want to keep getting across, no matter what time frame. And we're going to go back and we're going to define all this once again. We're going to slow down. We're going to do some more practice. But this is just Monday practice, right? This is just Monday practice. We want to look at a market, any market. And no matter what frame you're in, be able to mark swings up and down. And I want you to see, you're going to be in situations where you have a swing going down, and a swing going up. But if you can get this far, you can practice. And so no matter what frame you're in, the largest reaction leg is your major, period. The next largest is your minor. And so we can work with this now. And so then we can come in here and we can make some decisions. Do we want to sell this for a reversal against this? Or do we want to buy this for a continuation? And it really does not matter what frame you're in. You can be in this frame. If you're in this frame, then you're doing this. And you're following on the way down and following on the way up. We get beat. And we're about at the red now. All right, so this is interesting. So let's keep an eye on this market if we're looking at this frame. I'll take a picture of that. But I also want you to know you're going to get into this situation here where you're landing and there's also a swing going downward. And so, if you want to sell this, obviously you're going to wait for either you hit it and put a stop above the high, but you're hitting this. You're hitting this right here. You're going to be hitting something that's making small, minor swings that might just be equaling a bigger swing. Call that like an ABC. And then you can come in here and make decisions. See, that's just clean work. There's not a lot to it. And, we haven't even gotten to the fancy lines. That's just clean. We can do the fancy lines, but that's just, the swing is doing this. If you want, you can just go swing by swing. And it's telling you something about that. It's telling you, okay, it's breaking it now with the modified shift and the standard median line. You're right there. And then we just keep going. All right, so just some standard swing practice in these guys. And this is the kind of thing I want you to kind of do over the weekend, just to see what your market's done. I'm trying to come up with a way. I have an idea. It's not all the way formed yet, but I figured I'd throw it out there in case anybody wants to go ahead and start to form it. I have an idea. Watch out. Did I skip over a swing in the Aussie? I might have skipped over the LSB, Nate. All right, so just make a note, right? LSB, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I might have skipped over the LSB, but that's about it. All right, so I had this idea about making a training because I know I've been really busy and have slacked a little bit on my training. And anytime we want to make any sort of changes or do any sort of transformation or work our way into something, we have to do some sort of training. There has to be some kind of discipline, all right, some kind of steady daily practice. And it has to be designed. It has to be designed. And in a lot of the work I do, it's like a 100-day practice. So I thought about how to try to adapt that to trading. A 100-day training practice. So this is something I'm going to be thinking about. Maybe you can think about it as well. 100-day, where there's a commitment to the 100 days. No dog ate my homework. None of that. And a certain training practice to go after something, to learn something. It's easy in certain things, right? In physical things, but it's a little bit harder when it comes to the chart. So I don't know how this is going to form up yet. It's just an idea I had. Edward, you got no dog ate your homework. But it's really good because it's a commitment. It's not going to be too tough, but it's going to be a commitment to a certain amount of training. We just need to figure out what it's for, what the purpose is, and design it. All right? That's it. So I'm going to work on that. Sounds good, right? Now I just got to figure it out. You guys can think about it. All right, let's do this now. I don't know if we're going to get to our foundational training. All right, let's come in here. You guys remember we followed this CAD-YEN? Remember we were following outside bar structures, down, down, and we watched them switch. We were following these outside bar structures, like so. And they were hitting. And then all of a sudden they switched on us, right? We started this up here. Okay. This is this creating part I'm talking about now. Forget outside bar structures. I'm just trying to remind you of this market. I want you guys to come to this market and just see. All right? The kind of things we're going to look for is like multi-pivot lines where buyers and sellers were struggling. Maybe anything that sticks out on the chart. You see only a big wash. You see this big wash, Grace? Okay, take it a step further. This, you see this one? You see its brother here too, huh? You don't see this one? But at this point, Grace, this isn't a big wash. I mean, it could be a big wash to the upside, but it's not a big wash to the downside, right? All right. So you see that. This one, could we say that this one was a wash? Now we're just playing. We're just playing with what we know. Okay, good. All right. Follow the chart. Now, let me see if I can get a setup here. I want to take you into just seeing buyers and follow the chart from here. And look to where buyers and sellers went through their thing. Don't worry about washes and gaps. Just kind of look for where there was a struggle. Maybe the gaps draw your eye. Look for where there was a struggle. All of that stuff. Look for where maybe the chart made a decision. This is a little bit of that creative aspect. This is a little bit, okay, you come to the chart fresh. It's a new day. You're a new person. It's a new market. What happened yesterday, last, doesn't really matter. See, every day you need to look at this chart, and we're here to trade. We're here to trade up. And in order to trade up, this is going to require a creative, unique solution. The lines are just there to kind of help us. So right off the bat, just follow it down and maybe see where things broke, see where buyers stuck, see where buyers swapped, sellers swapped, maybe see swings. June 14.8. Okay, now you guys, you let this soak for a minute. I'm going to mark this chart with what I see. All right? So don't worry if I'm muted, because I'm muted. I'm going to mark this chart after just looking at it. I'm just looking at it. I'm going to mark this chart with what I see. And this isn't a bad exercise for you guys to do because it's creative. All right, everybody get how I framed that up? It's much more interesting when I did it, right? And it's like, oh, okay, I see it. But do you guys see how we took a market and this outside bar is the same as this outside bar? Same kind of thing. Okay, same kind of thing. This is a high, this is a high, and this is how I came up with a projection. So when I say we draw our median line sets, etc., with a certain precision, this is what I'm speaking of. We understand something about the swing structure. Okay? We understand something about the swing structure. And here's the model. All right, so again, this is process. I wanted to do a nice fundamental thing on process today, but we might only just barely get started. When we're talking outside bars, a lot of times the outside bar is a prelude to a big wash. It goes down a little ways, and how do we know it's a wash? Well, it comes up and tests, and then it zooms it. See, right here, this outside bar was a prelude to a pivot. How do we know? Well, it can't, but it didn't zoom it, right? It held. It didn't go anywhere. It held. But this one didn't hold. And so the outside bar can be, the advent of a pivot. And we can either come in here with a sign, right, and play the little try, which has been hard to do in this market, or you can wait for a swing. This is just a swing. This is a valley. This is a mountain. And we can even use, swings as we get here and approaching this. Now, this might not lift from here. It might. I don't know. But you can see how a trade decision can be made. This might just be, a type 2 and roll. It's quite possible. But when you come to the market, at least you want to be able to. See, when I looked at this market, it looked like this is where everything started. As Grace mentioned, there was this big wash. There's its brother over here. But it looks like this is where everything made its decision. Right there. It looks like this is where it broke and said, we are just going down. But when you get to look at the whole picture, if you have to, just grab a box. And what I want you to see is the actual sellers making a new low. The actual sellers hitting it. Actual sellers. Actual sellers. They stretch it a little bit, but they're making higher lows. You've just got swings going on here. They stretch it, but they still, they zoom it, but it's still messing. Here, it's for sure, right? And it's the process of an MPL. It's the process of a valley. It's the process of a swing, a valley and a mountain, Nate. There's a whole bunch of things that are lining up. But when you come to a market, I want you to see this group of sellers here, right? And so the outside bar is this effort that gets reversed, okay? And it's down here. So it becomes a solid marker. It becomes a solid marker, right? Because they made effort up and they made a new low. So this becomes a line in the sand. And it was the same thing over here, even with this little one. See? Even with this little one, they're struggling. They make it, So this becomes a line in the sand for sellers. See them? Boom. Boom. See them stall, but they just drive right through it. So it becomes a line in the sand. So this little swing is the same as this. It's just in a smaller version. And so we can use it for entries, so on and so forth. Now, might this just keep rolling? Yes, there's a bigger swing rolling here on the way down. Might it? Sure. But this is still my line in the sand. And this is like where they've absolutely decided. Hey, Winston, bearish structure effort taken out by bullish structure effort. Yes, absolutely. That's part of the process, Winston. It's like a triple whammy because they made so much effort here and they reversed it. And so without speculating, we know something. We know they took it up and they bashed some people on the head, right? I mean, some people got hurt. Same thing in this little move, especially the guys with the little bitty stops. Some people got hurt here. And this pivot is a pivot. The same as this is a major pivot. It's the same kind of a thing. But if we can just start out with something very simple, and even if you don't know all this, we're learning it. But if you can go like this, then when you get here live in real time, you can see where all of the struggle went down. And then, you can see the big swapperoos here that went on. And so that's the level, right? That's the line in the sand. That's the line in the sand. And so although, price is doing its funny thing, and you could have got on early just by doing an outside bar the other way, of course. We already talked about that. Okay? But if you come to the market, see, notice I didn't really plug in anything specific. It was creative. I look. And these are where my best trades come from. Even if this doesn't work, it comes from a fresh looking at this market, and I'm seeing swings. I'm seeing swing. I'm seeing swing. And so now my prediction effort is less prediction and more swing highs and swing lows. Now, it's not normal to grab that as a swing high. Well, we're going beyond just the basics now. Why is that a swing high? Can anybody tell me why I would want to, besides it's an outside bar structure, why do I want to call that a swing high? Why do I want to call that a swing high? Remember, a swing high, the sellers got beat. The sellers got beat like a redheaded stepchild. The sellers got beat. That's a swing high, right? The buyers hold. The sellers got beat. It's the place where the sellers got beat, right, Adam? It's the effort because it makes no, I'm not even thinking ABC, Raj. The reason I'm going to call it a swing high is because it is the place. It is the place where the sellers got beat, right? They tried. And you can see, if I take this line and move it over, you can see where they finally whoosh, do that, right? And so now I can come in here and do this all kinds of fancy swing work with this. That's the place where the sellers got beat. Now, this is my official last swing. But when we come down here to a pivot, that's it right there. And so, we'll watch and see what price does with this. But this is where I'll come up and think about a trade with nothing more than swings and a box. As I roll into Sunday, you know, I clear my mind a little bit. I look, I roll into Sunday, and see, little swings here, but this is my swing. This is my swing. And even if I want to use that, I got beat too. I got beat also. Now, maybe this thing expands a little further and comes down a little deeper, perhaps. Perhaps. But this is a nice, solid swapperoo level right there. And you can see how they dive down into it and come back up. So we'll watch this market moving forward. I just wanted to start to point that out. Now, you go from this, you start with a chart, and you look. Oh, that's what they're doing. That's it right there. That's the line. That's the line they're on. That's what they're doing. And then you can decide things. It's just all in swings, guys. Just interesting how the sides of the swings relate to each other. Yes. Yes. And that's how you project and you watch it fall into its pivot. Now, it doesn't have to hold, right? It doesn't have to hold. So, you know, you can see what I'm watching on this pound odd. And by the way, this has got a big spread. It moves fast. So, all right, so I got a swing. I got a swing. I got an outside bar. I'm pushing up against it. And I can then make decisions about what I want to do as I look at a market. So let's, well, while we're here, just watching the pressure cooker in the New Zealand yen, okay? We're just watching this pressure cooker here. See what's going on. See, sometimes it's just a matter of looking at the market. I know this isn't very instructional, all right? Sometimes it's just a matter of looking at your market. And especially for you tick chart traders, don't worry about too much what went on here. You come and you look at it, all right? Look at it coming into this morning. Okay, look at it coming into this morning. So here is Friday. Here's Sunday. You just want to maybe see the line that it's on. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. And then you can see it. Can anybody see where this swing came from? So let's say you start here. Where are, let's pick up on the last lesson. Where are the sellers that got beat? Ah. Boom. Boom. See, now you're starting to see an internal swing structure. See, that's where they got beat there. And so you watch. Okay, we approach the line. What happens? They try. They try. Over and over. And you can just, read through price here and think about your decisions when it comes to trading. Either way, it's going down. And if you want a projection for this, that's easy enough. Something like that. You can skip the middle if you want. But that's the way it's going till it's not doing that without knowing anything to the left. See, you want to come in and begin to see things simply. Swing. Swing. Okay, do I want to sell that or not? Or do I want to think about buying this someplace? Do I want to sell that or not? See, there's no real swings when I'm in this frame. I'm just grabbing Sunday. And I'm just coming down and saying, oh, okay, they hit here. They hit here. Do I want to push this or not? And I'm not saying it's an easy trade unless you're really in tune and you see it. So this is sort of the let's just see session. All right, this is just the let's see what's going on session in swings. Let's do one more. All right, let's get a handle on it. We've got to do some current markets here. You come into the euro. It's doing that pattern, right? It's doing that. And so we just want to watch, and we still, even though this looks funky, if you start here, you're like, what do I do now? Maybe you don't do anything. No, this is my last swing here. But if you come in and you look at it, I can still get a handle on this. How? Well, I can see that my structures are like this. Swing. It's about yay big. I can get a handle on this. They're pressing up, and I can watch it. Down. Okay, we got a big fat tail. All right, there's a big fat tail there. And we start to grind up. Tail gets beat. What happens? So now this moves. And we wonder. I can tell you one thing. This is going to keep me from even thinking about doing any kind of a short. I mean, just look at the line here. See, right there, this is what I said earlier. This is functional truth. This is what's happening. I might think 3 drives to a reversal. I might think it's time for this thing to come off. It doesn't matter. Right there, right? Right, Nate, there's nothing to short with this map. Nothing, nothing, nothing. With this map, forget about it. There's nothing to short here. I had to keep myself from going long, actually, because, you know, it seemed like an easy trade. And it was. And that's current. So you can see that that's what this market is doing right now. And one of the things we can watch for in this market is what we just mentioned, you know, a possible expansion. You know, this is where, you know, action reaction can come in. Something like that. And we can think about a possible expansion, which will be a bait on a larger time frame. Nate said, I was looking for longs, but couldn't. Yeah, there's not a logical 3-to-1 in here, Nate. There just isn't. But unless you play for an expansion, but I could tell you one thing, you know, at one point in here this morning, it's just easy to hit it, and you're floating with it. You know, you might be back here for the next 4 days. But either way, take your mind off the trade for a minute and just, at least we can read it, right? see, that's the important thing. Now we got a little bit of a handle on it. And you know what? This thing will expand. This thing will expand. It will expand down or it will expand up. It will do something from here. And so maybe it's not today's business. And again, a lot of times this is what median lines do. They will make push trades until they don't, right? You guys see what I was talking about with the baits? So on a daily chart, this is like a bait. And then it will either be a reversal. So I'm trying to get us all a little bit of handle on the tools and the way price moves. So you got a good feel when you come in and you're deciding what you want to do with a trade. This is all process. This is all process. So when price comes diving down, I won't be clueless. I'll be looking to see, all right, is this thing just going to keep going or is it just going to expand in bait? Because they're really after it right now. What's going to change its mind? I don't know. Or if this expands up out of here, then you're liable to have, like this. But now, with one line and a couple swings, a little bit of price reading, we're starting to get a handle on what this market is doing. And then we'll move forward from that one. Piece of cake. I'm going to at least get us started on this process thing. And that way you guys can start to figure it out because it's time to get back to some instructional lessons. I want to do some foundational lessons. So let me find the slide here. Give me a minute. So we have these frameworks, right? So here's what we're going to work into before we do more pressure cookers. Here's a little pressure cooker. See, we're watching this one. We're watching this one on the fly right now. And we're watching these swings. Okay. Interesting. And so we have these frameworks, whether it's pressure cooker, gaps, whatever. Median lines, V's. Within all of these little methods, they're going to have these principles. Continue to change of behavior, process, relative distinctions, 3 types of trades. Now, we've been talking about this boom, 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 here and there. But now we need to spend a little time. We're going to spend a little time on process. We want to understand the process that a structure goes through. So when we come to, work on pressure cookers or V's or gaps or median lines or whatever, we want to understand the process. We want a good handle on price. And so we're going to make a key. All right, we're going to make a key. Let's pick a time frame here that we're not messing with, maybe a 480. And we're going to make a key for process. And we're going to start out very simply with just a coil. So we did a little bit of this the other day. So we want to deeply understand process. And what I want to do is I want to take this coil and work it through all of the structures. And maybe down here we will do it in swings. So let me get us started here. So we're going to work on this principle of process. So this is foundational work. So if I have the next part of a process is going to look like this, a gap. So if I mark this coil, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3. So we can say step 1, coil. Step 2, gap. And we're going to define gap. Now, what I'm going to do on the bottom, is relate these structures in swings. So here, I could say, and I've done a similar key, but we're going to redo it. Everything is relative. Everything. And this is also relative to relative. So what I want you to do is, as we go through the process of our structures here, on the bottom, I'm going to use swings. So I'm going to make a swing cycle with these horizontal structures and a swing cycle with a regular swing cycle. And I'm going to match these as we go. And that will be our key to understanding at a structure level the process, the step 1, the step 2, the step 3. And then later on, we'll get to what this looks like at a bar level. But right now, I want you to see what this looks like. Basically, what I'm saying is, if we have a swing, okay, if we have a swing, I'm going to be doing this swing in process as I do these structures in process. So that's what we're going to do on Friday, after we have a look at some of the markets. And we'll just make this into a big key, a big reference chart that we can have and save and all that good stuff. So you guys get the exercise? So you can begin to think this out and then even begin to find it on your charts. When I say relative, right, I'm saying this is like a gap. This is like a gap. This is like a gap. This is the stuff median line sets are made of. Except it's sloped. You guys see we have a mountain, we have a valley. This is going to turn into a mountain and a valley, but it all has to happen in process. It all has to happen one by one by one by one. And the more we understand that process, the more we can come to a market and see what we need to see and make trades that we need to make, because we know where in the process we're working. So think that out on your own a little bit. All right? Think that out on your own a little bit, and then we'll just take our time and do it one by one as we get into Friday. In the meantime, we're just observing markets. What got zoomed? What happens next? This is, what got zoomed? What happens next? And this is how I can come in here and draw a median line like this and say, all right, there's a possibility that that's my swing. Because all I have here are little itty bitty swings here. These swings grow and expand. See, there's just little itty bitty swings here. And I want us to all be able to come in and say, all right, that's my attempted swing right there. That's my attempted swing right there. We need to be able to come in and see the structures, like that. And notice, and then notice, use your noticing skills. Notice the dive down into this guy. Do you see the same thing over here, right? Notice the dive down, right? Notice the dive down into the balanced leg. Notice the dive down into the balanced leg. So when you see me draw things like this, you also see me say, every swing has a reaction leg, every swing has an impulse leg, and every swing has a pivot component to it. That's that diving down part. So even this guy, right, is going to have a pivot component to it. And the pivot component is part of the process of a swing. That's that diving down. Okay, that's that diving down here. It's part of the process of a swing, that pivot component. So no matter what time frame we're on, we can see, if price is coming down like this, again, where are the sellers that got beat? Boom, 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 boom. Where's the high? It's this guy up here. Where's the swing? And I can see it stall. I can see right here that might be my pivot component of that leg. Does that make sense? And do you see the sellers, boom, retest it? It's basically the same thing. They just stepped it up, right? Sellers, boom, retest it. It's the same thing. It's just minor and major. I'm just using a lot of data here. I just pulled it back just to see what we can see. And, in this way, when we come in here to draw, we're getting a median line that's projecting. Like, see center, see the valley. So we get a median line. Even though it doesn't hit exactly, we're getting a median line that's projecting that. All right? And then when we get over here, it's projecting this next guy over here. Rita says, thank you for putting into words what I've been seeing and didn't know what I was seeing enough to articulate. That's what the practice is for, right, Rita? You're welcome. We want to see swing structures in all of their forms. And again, you take a chart like this, it's really just, you see the, you can see the valley, the mountain, which is nothing more than this and this. And that's all part of process. That's all part of process. Now, drawing center lines can be a little tricky. If I was to be drawing a center line, I'd probably draw my center line, like this. I'd be off up here, but I'd be closer right here. But that's the center idea, okay? So I'd probably be off with my center line. I'd be drawing my center line, something like that. But we want to see, okay? We want to see. And then you can see that whole process of a wash and rinse, that diving down. Then you can see it on a smaller level. So we'll see if this guy wants to get going or it wants to roll or not. No clue yet. It's still looking a little dead in the water. So we did a bunch of practice on swing work today and just looking at markets. And keep an eye on this guy. Let's look at this daily real quick. Oh, guys, you know what? We completely forgot the daily we marked out up here. Swing work. Boom, boom. See, doing too many things at once. We completely forgot. I mean, we marked this out over here looking at possibles, huh? Seller, 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 sellers. Whoosh. Buyers. With an extra little punch. No, we don't have any baits in here yet. No baits. Can't find a bait for the life of us, see? All right, so you guys think about the process. Think about extending that chart, how you might do it. We're going to go step by step, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you. Take care.